instead of having a weak pasta or something like that, you can have amazing pasta, but made from sweet potatoes. It's so easy and it's great for you. So I have a spiralizer, which I'll show you how to do, and it gives you the noodles right away. But if you don't have a spiralizer, you're gonna just take a great a peeler, and I'm just gonna peel some lengthwise peels down here like this. Keep it in your hand, just like this, right? Now, what you can do, you see how thin that is? If you just take these and cut them immediately, these little strips can become like, your longer, your thicker pasta, your wide pasta. So you can use it like that. But since I have a spiralizer, because you don't have to get a different gadget to do this, but what I do with the spiralizer, I'm going to put this down here so you can see what's happening here. I love this thing. And you can get it from Amazon. It's maybe it's $30. I don't think it costs more than that. So I'm putting this here. It is the simplest thing. Throwing this on here, sticking that in there, like that. And we're gonna make some spirals right now. It's coming out on the other side. I'm right-handed, so I can't do it from there, but I want you guys to see what's happening on the other side here. Wow. You see what's going on? It makes in 2 seconds all of that. And that was this is half a sweet potato. Okay, so I'm gonna do this, and it takes, like I said, all about 2 minutes or 2 seconds to get this done. So I'm gonna put that on there. I didn't stick that on there tight enough. I'm gonna stick it on there a little bit tighter.
There's nothing like having the proper kitchen gadgets.
Oh my gosh, and you could always use your you can always use your if you have a food processor as well. But I really like this because it has different it has different little attachments so that you can then go in and make if you want to make French fries, like curly fries and things like that. But look at how it's just fast. This is so fast
and fun.
Exactly, and fun. And I've made pasta in 2 seconds, and we're gonna cook this right in front of you right now. It's gonna be a 5-minute dish. Look at this.
Wow, that's
look
incredible.
At that. Okay, that's good times right there.
Wow.
All right, so I'm gonna take you over to the stove. I just usually go in and cut a little bit because they are some long strings.
Sweet potato curls.
That's it. And they're so thin, and they cook so quickly, like really quickly. So we're gonna head over to the stove. Let me switch out my rig over here. Y'all see, we make it work.
That was a half a sweet potato?
That was 2 sweet potatoes. I mean, that's 2 sweet potatoes, about 1 big sweet potato.
Okay.
This is, one, I would say, here we go. It's on there, making sure you can see the stove and what's going on it. Yes. So it's about, it's like one sweet potato, maybe like 3/4 of a sweet potato. So what I'm gonna do here, we're gonna turn on the stove. The first thing we're gonna do, because we're gonna make some garlic sweet potato noodles, okay? And we're gonna add some shrimp to it and some shiitake mushrooms. Now, I'm just bringing the light over here. I wanna make sure, there we go. A lot more light. Make sure everybody can see.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Vegetarians, they don't have to add the shrimp or anything.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I love shiitake mushrooms and oyster mushrooms. They literally, when you have shiitake mushrooms and oyster mushrooms, it's like one, they sop up all of the taste, like all of the whatever gravy you have. So when you bite into it, it's amazing. I also use dry mushrooms a lot, like dry shiitake mushrooms. Actually, that's what these are. I reconstituted them, just soaked them in some water for a couple of minutes, and then I cut them up and sauteed them really quickly. I saute my protein and stuff half the way. These are some shrimp that I also sauteed in a bit of kind of like a Ethiopian seasonings, Berber seasoning. I love it. So delicious. But what I usually do is just saute it half the way, since I know I'm going to put it back in the pot, and because it's going to reheat again. And you want your things to, you know, just stay nice and juicy. So my pot's heating up. So what I'm going to do, well, give me a second. I'm going to make sure that stays. There we go. Are we on? Way on. You can see. Okay. So I'm going to throw some butter in here. We're going to put some butter in there.
And
move it
could
around.
you substitute, if someone was like, didn't want dairy, they could substitute with olive
there's
oil.
Vegan butters. There's vegan butters and there's olive oil. You know, so what I do is I do a combination of some butter and some olive oil. But you don't have to do, and it's not even a lot. That was, you know, not a lot at all. But we're creating, this is going to be part of our sauce. So we're putting the butter in there. So it's about, I'd say, a good, you know, tablespoon and a half of butter in there, with some, because I use vegan butter as well sometimes. You know, there's an alternative to everything, okay, or for everything. So I'm going to put that in there. Then I'm taking a lot of garlic and some ginger, and I'm just going to sit it in here. So the garlic and the ginger, I have it in here, and I don't want the garlic to brown. I just want it to cook some in here, okay? And it's a lot of garlic, lots of ginger. It's going to be so good and garlicky. Hoping you can catch all of that. Can you see all of that? Can you see what's happening in there?
Yes.
Awesome. So we have that going on. We're going to have this. I'm turning this up nice, and, you know, you just want it to, you see it's bubbling a little bit. So you want that happening. And it's not browning. I'm using a nonstick pan. It's not going to brown. It's just bubbling. And I'm cooking that garlic a little bit. Okay. So once I see this is kind of cooking nicely, and again, that's 2 minutes, okay? Now in here is a little bit of what we call oyster sauce. It's a Chinese condiment, but if you don't have that, you can just use some soy sauce, or you can use some tamari or Bragg's, you know, coconut aminos. These are things that vegetarians might use to, you know, to, if you don't have this, if you don't like oyster sauce or something like that. So you see, it's doing its thing there. Then I'm going to put this sauce in it. And what this is going to do is give it depth of flavor, because you don't just want to have only garlic and oil, you know? So what this does, so even now, you see it was getting so hot, I wanted to take it up off the stove because it was getting too hot on there. And I just want to move this around some in there now. And it's changing to that pretty color there. So I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Switch this out. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. And then I'm going to throw my shrimp back up in there. I'm going to put my mushrooms in there as well. So I'm just heating it, adding, these are some hot peppers. I'm going to add those in there, some red peppers. And once you add the other sauce in there, it keeps the garlic from cooking further and from burning rather. Because you notice if you put fresh garlic in a pot, it might burn quickly, and then it starts to make your food a little bitter. But already it's looking yummy. So now all we're going to do is we're going to add our noodles. Literally, guys, this took, you saw me do this from start to finish. Okay? So your noodles, they're in there. I didn't add any other seasoning in here because I'm just going to put a little bit of maybe some garlic powder and some onion powder. But the salt-wise, because that brown mixture had fish sauce and oyster sauce in it. They have sodium in it already. And so you want to, you know, just monitor what you're taking in. So I'm mixing this around, and this is so good, y'all. It's looking so good. Look at that. Y'all see
I
what's
have a
happening in there? I want to
question.
make sure you see all what's happening in there.
Oh, wow. That's
You
so,
know?
and it's so beautiful.
Yeah, I love, and we eat with our eyes. Why not make it gorgeous? And this is
Yeah.
nature showing us, yeah. But you see how quickly the noodles just went down, just started to melt down. They're getting softer and softer, and it wasn't even on here for 5 minutes. You see how quick this is? And so what they're going to do, they're still going to have a little bit of that bite, so it'll have a little bit of crunch. So they'll be kind of like you're having al dente noodles, you know? So I put that on there, and we ain't finished yet. There's a 2 seconds more. So I'd say you're cooking this for maybe 3 minutes total, right? So here we go. We have that in. Now I'm gonna go in. I'm just making sure you see that it's all nice and soft now. And if you want it softer, you can have it softer. I like it someplace in between where I know that it's cooked a little bit and it's chewy, but I still like that little bit of crunch. So what else I'm gonna add in there? I'm gonna go in with some Parmesan cheese. You know, you can also get some vegetarian cheese as well. So I'm putting that in there. There's a little bit of Parmesan cheese. I'm gonna put in some cilantro. We're gonna mix that in there, and then some onions, some little spring onions.
So we have just about 10 minutes left.
Yes,
and then
okay.
I wanted
So
to ask if
they
anybody
definitely can start asking questions because
exactly, yeah. So you can put them in.
Done. Like this is done. I'm gonna put this on a plate and taste this, so you can ask some questions while we're plating this. If anybody has questions, are there any in the chat?
Let's see. I know there was. Hold on, let me go through because there was a question that someone wanted me to ask at the end. Are there any herbs that are good for hair growth?
Oh, herbs.
Well,
I definitely have to look
rosemary.
That.
Rosemary is a wonderful herb for hair growth. I do herbal hair teas in the salon, and rosemary is a wonderful herb for promoting hair growth. Sage is a wonderful herb for creating.
Oh, nice sage.
Yes, sage is a wonderful growth for creating the pH balance of the scalp.
Nice.
Nettle is a wonderful herb for promoting hair growth and cooling of the scalp. Oh my gosh, that is just incredible.
We made that in 5 minutes, y'all. You saw it didn't take but a couple of minutes. And that is, you got your garlic, you have if you're the vegetarian and just want the sweet potatoes and some mushrooms, you can put broccoli in here instead of the shrimp. You can go and have chicken. You can do so many things with this, but the base of this is just making sure you have another way to have your sweet potatoes, you know, and you want to really just try to incorporate that. So I want to make sure you guys know, you see, I want to make sure you can see how these noodles, what's happening in here. Come on now.
Okay. How are they happening?
You see?
Oh my gosh, that's delicious. That's deliciousness in your mouth. Oh my goodness.